Hello, everyone. This is John Papaspanos with the Young Professionals of the Hellenic-American Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining for our first of a series of events of online symposium discussions called the Telemachus Mirror. Many entrepreneurs set out to solve a problem in the world. Their business either provides a useful good or service in the market, but rarely does a founder create a business that makes a direct, significant, and lasting impact on its consumer. But one such founder is Yiorgos Nikoletakis, who is the CEO and founder of 100 Mentors, which is an educational tech company that allows thousands of people across the world to use their platform to help make prudent academic and career decisions through mentorship and other services. Yiorgos is a graduate of Athens University of Economics and Business, Ohio State University, and Columbia University, and a former Fulbright Scholar. With 100 Mentors, Yiorgos has won the London Business School Founder Award and the Deloitte Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship Prize, among other distinctions. And with that, I'm pleased to welcome today Yiorgos Nikoletakis to our discussion. Καλησπέρα, Yiorgos.
Καλησπέρα από την Αθήνα. Thank you so much for the invitation, and it's a great honor to be among the young professionals of the chambers. I'm looking forward to the conversation, John, and thank you for coordinating it.
Of course, it's our pleasure. And thank you all involved who helped organize this event and to spread the word. We've all seen the effects of good mentorship. For example, one of the most famous chain of mentors and students was Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and Alexander the Great. Or in sports, we've all seen what great coaches can accomplish, like Phil Jackson, by developing the talents of their players. But what is the importance of good mentorship in the growth of an individual, in both their academic and their professional development? What are some of the main benefits? Let's start with that.
That's a great question. And let me say that we see mentorship in 100 Mentors as the path for self-consciousness, finding what you stand for. So good mentorship enlightens you to find the questions that motivate you in life, and the answers come second, and you are the one as a mentee who will give the answers and not your mentor. So you're finding those questions through mentorship, and it helps you make them better and more targeted. So if the bottom line is that the benefit of good mentorship is that you're finding the questions that are the drivers for the self-motivation for anything that you do in life. So it's not accidental that the mentor gurus that you mentioned, like Socrates is the most characteristic example, are question-focused. So the Socratic method is all about asking the right questions at the right timing. And the benefit of good mentorship is that as a mentee, you're finding the questions that drive your life decisions. So seeking your answers becomes more targeted without, big or let's say lethal deviations. And this makes it easy for you to build your purpose and develop your life mission. It's about finding your why. Finding your how and your what is a journey that you follow as a mentee, but the very good mentors in like Socrates, and the ones that we will remember for the ages, like Jesus Christ, or even like the example of the coach that you mentioned, Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson,
are mentors who try to bring the why out of their players and to become their best selves.
Absolutely. And just for our viewers' benefit, Simon Sinek is another great author and presenter on these types of issues, if you'd like to delve more. And then at the end of our discussion, we're going to have plenty of time to ask any questions. You just have to raise your hand in the Zoom meeting, and then we'll call on you at the end. But Yiorgos, as you said, I think that was on target. I think one thing that you mentioned sparks an idea in my mind is the concept of knowing thyself, the Socratic exploration of what your values are, what's going to ultimately reach happiness, evdomonia for you. And it all depends on each person. We all have, for economic majors, we all have different utility functions as to what will give us that sense of fulfillment in our life. And it's a constant search, asking the questions to yourself and using inputs from other people to help you make that informed decision based on all the factors. And it's subject to change. It might be one thing at 30 or 40 or 50. You have to pivot when you realize there's a change either in your external world or your internal world. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a great response. I think the next question that leads to it is, what type of questions do we want to ask? These open-ended, useful questions. What do we want to elicit? What information do we want to draw from our mentors, would you say?
So we call them wonderment questions. I mean, this is not our term. It's on the bibliography and of inquiry-based learning. And again, just to make clear what a wonderment question is, we have to make the distinction between what is a wonderment and what is a basic information question. So to put it very simply, without any academic terminology, anything that you can Google is a basic information question. The so-called, you mentioned Simon Sinek, the so-called what and how questions that can, if you Google them, you will find answers. It's the why questions that require mentors, and actually multiple mentors, possibly, that you have to draw the answers and more questions from. It's not, we do not judge your questions. We just assess them in a scale of how they score in the basic information question and wonderment question bar, let's say, which means that those questions, they make it more possible that they generate further knowledge and exploration and thinking out of the box. So they are those questions that make you evolve. And those are the questions that we educate our users on the platform, our learners, also the partner companies that we work with, to ask to their mentors before they go into a mentoring session or they use our mobile application.
I mean, just by a brief description of your platform, it sounds very, very useful. And I think it would be beneficial if we could hear the genesis story of how did you even come up with the concept of 100 mentors? What's the genesis story and what inspired you to create this company?
Well, the short story is that, I grew up in Crete. I had certain opportunities when I was growing up in a Greek island. And I feel that I was lucky enough to meet amazing professional academic role models at any stop of my journey. So that brought me from Crete to Athens. And in Athens, I met other people that I wanted to become those people, and I saw them as role models, and those people advised me about what they did when they were my age. And every time, every stop had at least one or two mentors that acted, they had a significant role to me and my journey towards studying what I studied, or launching the initiatives that I did launch. So I feel very lucky enough to say at some point, I would say 6-7 years ago, that this should be something that we can offer to other people, that it shouldn't be random that people meet their mentors along their journeys, and we should add, as opposed to randomness, some consciousness on the decision about whom we are gonna meet when we are called to make our once in a lifetime decisions. So it's also about the timing. So basically we built the tool that we wanted to have ourselves when we were growing up. And we built 100 mentors so that we open the circle of influence of young professional or a young student when they are called to make the transition to the next step. And we make it extremely easy for them to make questions, good questions, wonderment questions, as we said in the previous answer, and match those questions with relevant mentors. So the brief story is that it's what we wanted to have when we were called to make our once-in-a-lifetime decisions.
That's very interesting. And I think we have some commonality because I also am from an island in southern New Jersey called Wildwood. It's definitely less picturesque. It was a great childhood, but not as nice as Crete. But what I quickly realized is, the networks that I have from my family and my church and my community are extremely limited if you come from a small town. And to be able to reach for, I guess, higher aspirations if you want to work in the city or a big company or you want to do, entrepreneurship aside from the local businesses, it's absolutely critical that you have these mentorships and networking opportunities to be able to connect the dots. And, from my own life, I can clearly draw a linear path from each level of my academic career into my professional career. It's very clear who was helping me drive that upward trajectory. Either it's a professor or somebody I met at a conference or some coworker that I met. So I think it's critical. And I just want to emphasize that for especially the young students who think, their opportunity might be limited in whatever geographic area they're living in. They can easily surpass those types of limitations with good mentorship and networking opportunities. And with that, I think one other question I had regarding the platform is what type of specific services does 100 Mentors provide? I know that you mentioned, it connects mentors and mentees and you have the ability to ask questions, but is there any other, features of the platform?
Yeah, let me say first that we offer 100 Mentors to companies and to academic institutions. We started with schools, international schools, and we have right now clients in 17 countries, international schools, and then we also launched in universities. So we have mentoring programs for subject-specific ones and career orientation ones in schools and universities. And our largest, I would say, revenue source right now is the mentoring programs that we offer to companies. So we have employee to students and employees to employees mentoring programs. The employee to students are part of the employee engagement HR department initiatives. And the employee to employee mentoring programs are part of the L&D function of companies. So we have big like S&P 500 companies primarily that have separate departments, L&D or employee engagement departments that finance those programs, and we act as the facilitators, the digital facilitators of those programs. It's a typical software as a service product, and we offer it as a license per month per active employee for companies. So what we have managed to do during the last year is that we started monetizing from companies. And we are at this point of our business model and journey that we have started offering for free 100 mentors to the question askers, the inquirers. And we monetize from the question receivers. So this is, I would say, the competitive advantage we have right now, that we get paid because of the questions. The questions are our currency, let's say. And this is also something that really serves our mission because we are focused on making the questions better and better where in the inquirer communities. And we get paid, just put it on cynical business model terms, we get paid from companies that use this engagement, for example, for employees to student programs, and they use the questions as the tool for their employees to engage more and become company ambassadors. And also this comes along with greater retention, performance, and job satisfaction. There is a relationship between employee engagement and job satisfaction. And this is what we sell to companies right now. Right now we have about 27 companies and two big four companies that have global contracts with us and offer it to their employees. So these are the programs that we offer to our end users, employees or students, mentees. But also we have mentors who are primarily employees and academia people, because we also partner with universities. And we're very proud of our university affiliations as well, in the US as well.
Yeah, that's extremely impressive. I mean, how many years has 100 Mentors been in existence?
It's the 5th year right now. As an idea, it has been existing for a long time, but it's the 5th year of the company. Right.
Very nice. And I know it's not a very important question for people that are just beginning their careers, but is the platform helpful if individuals are seeking to transition into a new career? I mean, I'm sure it's probably helpful within the same industry to go from firm to firm, but how about when you want to pivot totally outside the career into a new area?
I would say that this is maybe the case where you have to get advice from someone who has been there, done that. So definitely it is very important that when you are planning a transition, that you speak to people that have done it before. And I feel that it's very useful in that case. So just a clarification here, a disclaimer that right now you can use the platform only as a member of a partner community or an affiliated community. And yes, we have a lot of communities where people are at this stage of their lives.
Very nice. So what I'm hearing is, I mean, from the student's perspective, and that's, I think the majority of the people participating are students or about to graduate, there's a great multiplier effect in using this platform, right? Because you have a lot of high quality mentors at your fingertips. So it's much greater efficiency to seek them out in terms of time and effort, especially now with Corona, where you can't meet somebody in person in your college campus. A lot of campuses are shut down. So a platform like that would be helpful to connect the people, even across state lines, even across national borders, right? It's international.
You're exactly right. So in this occasion, I would like to also mention something that is an answer to a previous question, that the default option that we offer to students or young professionals is that through our mobile application, and what they do is that they either record their questions or write them down, and we transcribe the message and we parse the keywords and we link the keywords to relevant mentors. So the first experience is that your question as a mentee pops up on the feed of a mentor. We have about 6,000 mentors right now across many countries. And what happens is that we in 2 business days, you get the first answers, personalized answers, 100-second answers. So it's a bite-sized micro learning mode where you establish the first connection with relevant mentors. So if the first engagement is frequent enough to justify a deeper, more meaningful mentoring connection, then there is you progress through your learning journey, and you get in touch with mentors that you find their answers good, provocative enough, open to the wonderment questions that you had, and you even can have a sequence of bite-sized Q&As or a live session with them, just to walk you through the experience. So I guess keeping that in mind, we changed the product many times until we got to this point where you can build and establish the mentoring relationship that you have with your mentors as a mentee. And at the same time, you can have mentors who can start with bite-sized chunks of, because our mentors in general and professionals right now have really tight schedules, and you know, they're overwhelmed, they're often distracted. So we start with a minimum of 5 minutes per week per employee who acts as a mentor for per professional or per academic. And then the mentors can escalate their engagement if they find that they can build a mentoring relationship with their mentees.
That's great. And I think one question that I had, your mentorship company, 100 Mentors, has a motto called Meet Your Future Self. Is it possible for you to elaborate on this phrase and just in general, talk about the theme of meeting your future self when you're undergoing the mentorship process and asking these like fundamental questions on what do you want to do for the rest of your life, and who do you want to speak with to help guide and, you know, transition you on the path towards that goal?
Yeah. So first of all, John, thanks for making the research. It's exactly right. I mean, this is the first thing that we used heavily for our career orientation programs at the first schools that we offered 100 Mentors to. And Meet Your Future Self essentially means that exactly as we pointed out earlier on, when you start exploring the different paths that you want to pursue, you usually have people in your family circle or like friends of friends that act as your mentors. And this is a limited, let's say, circle of people. And there are 4 or 5 people that play a significant role in making a strong impression when you are called to make those decisions. So what we do is that we enlarge this circle of influence, and we offer certain universities and schools that we offer 100 Mentors. We offer about 100 people per kid where they can explore and ask those people and have insights from 100 people from in an academic year. And this is also how the company name came to mind, let's say. So instead of having your family circle, which is very practical, don't get me wrong, and it makes sense to also continue a family tradition if you are also if you really want to do it. It's always great to open your horizons to even professions that you haven't even thought of. You didn't know that they existed, especially now where, you know, by I was reading the statistical fact that says that 65% of youth right now, they're gonna get jobs that currently don't exist. So we should be open to see what is beyond our like limited circle of influence. And be your future self means that you can meet people that are that represent a future state of yourself or something that is going to be very close to what you're going to be doing. So it's about speaking to people who, again, have been there, done that, and you wouldn't be able to meet otherwise.
Yeah, and I think that's spot on. I remember just using personal anecdote. One of my best friends now was actually a student when I was in college in the business school. I was in the international relations program. And if I just stuck with the professors and the mentors within my school, I didn't think outside the box, I would never, you know, even branch out and try to engage in a business competition. And, you know, that's how we met. We were on the same team, and now we're close friends, you know, 20 years later, 15, 20 years later. So I think it's great that we think outside the box and we stay open-minded, and we try to engage in participants and people who have like a diverse perception. I know whenever I talk with like tech-minded people, it always opens my horizons because I can't even understand what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know with tech. So every time I speak with them, it really, you know, expands my mindset, and it makes me wonder about certain areas I wouldn't even think about in my day-to-day as a lawyer. So I think, that's a great parting line. I think before we end the discussion about mentorship, I'd like to talk a little bit about one of your prior accomplishments outside of 100 Mentors and your contributions to the field. I would like to ask you about the National Hellenic Student Association. So a lot of the students that were participating, they're still in college or they're about to graduate. So it's helpful to note that you were one of the co-founders of this organization, and I think it was in 2009. And now it's grown to 50 member chapters and has 1,500 students and young professionals throughout North America. And I think that has something to say about, your vision. How would you, describe your efforts in forming that organization and getting that off the ground? And how can that inspire future students to think big?
Well, exactly. First of all, I'm super proud that the organization, after so many years, is still active and very active, I would say, also with the contribution of old members who act as mentors like you, John. So that is also it's a good opportunity to recognize this. I would say that we initiated that effort back then, and this stemmed from the same need that makes us work on 100 Mentors right now, for example, or everybody to how they contribute to their community. So the need also back then was that we find like-minded people in terms of the values, but also people with complementary skills for different projects. And it was a network of people coming from the best universities throughout the US. And it became a big organization that went beyond the borders of like a closed national group. And it was really, and actually it is very interesting that right now also there are a lot of people that go to conventions that are beyond the borders, the academic borders. So the need right now and back then was that we find people not only as partners but mentors that can guide us and share their network capacities and help young students and professionals ask their why questions and find answers from the people who have been there, done that. It was like what we do right now. It was an opportunity. It is a network that grows the opportunities for the members and creates opportunities for anybody who joins this network. So I think that, we will always be finding vehicles to satisfy that need.
Excellent. And with that, I think we've concluded our discussion, the main discussion about mentorship. I do want to start partaking in a discussion of some of the questions that we've fielded. I think the first one from Gregory Homatas. He's asking, how about someone who's trying to transition from working for a company for a number of years but wants to branch out on their own business using the same skills? So, like, for example, if you work for a big firm, you're a lawyer, you want to, hang your shingle and have your own shop. Is there any insights or any type of guidance that you can give on how they can make that transition?
Yes. Well, if I acted as a mentor myself, again, I'm not one. We are facilitators, just to make that clear. But I would say that there are a few things that as an entrepreneur, you need to know, no matter where the sector you come from is. It's, first of all, it's define very well your why. It might sound very visionary, but your why is, and why you do what you're gonna do is what is not gonna change along the way. How you do it and what you offer for a price to your clients is gonna change many times, and it's gonna be your users who are gonna define that. So the main advice is that find your why, but a follow-up piece of advice is that you have to start very early and fail, sometimes fail miserably, and try the minimum viable product very early, even if you don't feel that this is a complete experience. Because otherwise, you're not going to find the how and the what very soon, and what we call the product market fit very soon. In terms of the specifics of the industry where you come from, and maybe you know that you are you are building a product that is close to the law, the legal industry, you should ask people like John or people who have made this transition, and prepare your questions for your wonderment questions again for this particular industry, and take advantage of many interactions with such people, and not just try one person, try to find many people who have been there, done that.
Thank you so much for your advice.
Thank you, Gregory, for your question.
Sure. I think the second one is from Theodora Juliadis. Is her mic unmuted by any chance?
Yes, it is.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Alexandra.
She muted herself again.
Okay.
Okay, it's unmuted now.
I'm sorry. So my question to you was, what connections personally in your life have helped shape your approach to mentorship?
Very well. I would say that that's a difficult question. And what I can share right now from the top of my mind is that the most significant advice and connections that shaped this, my mindset have been with people that I wouldn't expect, and they were not industry experts. It's not an advice for anybody else per se, but I can say that what I can say as a general scheme is that I learned more from people who were non-experts. And what I mean is that you have things, you have what we know that we know, and what we know that we don't know. And there's a third category which is about what we don't know that we don't know, which is related to blind spots. So the people that helped me more than anybody else, I can also name a few, are people who had a small relationship, for example, with the technology, but because they were outsiders, non-experts, they were very good mentors that could enlighten me about things that I could not think of. So the people who can see your blind spots because they are not like-minded, many times can share non-expert input that can make you enlightened about blind spots. Again, I had a lot of people who acted as mentors on the technical side of things. For example, I cannot code, and I have had mentors who advised me about how to find amazing people to team up with, and I'm really thankful to them. But the ones who changed my mindset were people who were really outside of the subject expert, let's say, industry that I was looking for. I don't know whether this covers you, Theodora.
Oh yeah, the blind spot. Thank you for going into that, because that's an interesting take on it. And I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have another question by Chris Abudis, who's the founder and the leader of Philo for Thought, which is a nonprofit organization that we work and collaborate with.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Chris?
Hi, Yiorgos. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm very proud of you for doing this, and to the HACC for putting together this wonderful talk today.
It's my honor.
I wanted to know what you recommend for mentoring resources, because we started getting students who are based in Greece or in different parts of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
What you recommend for the mentoring there? Because here we have a few set organizations now that we can refer students or young professionals to. But there, I think things have changed since COVID.
Definitely. The approach that we take starts from resources that are inquiry-based learning ones. So I know that people usually are looking for immediate, networks of mentors where they can tap in, which is pretty normal. And actually, I would recommend people to go and find those networks. But again, to us, the main thing is that before you capitalize on the networks that are either local or international ones, national or international ones, you get a very good foundation on what you're looking for and what are the kind of questions that you're asking your mentor. So the resources that I would recommend are, I can list a few. I don't want to name just the links here, but they are about inquiry-based learning and about what we mentioned in the occasion of John's questions about what is a good question. I would start from there, and just to highlight how important it is to be ready to capitalize on the mentorship connection that you will eventually get. And then I would say that COVID really changed the territory on how we approach people. I mean, I will mention some traditional media, we heavily use LinkedIn also to approach new mentors. But what I would highlight again, because of this question, Chris, is that the best mentorship relationships, no matter what applications you use or any other organized networks you use as a mentee, as a young student, for example, is when you have shaped your why and why you're looking for what you are pursuing, is that once you have a short statement as a mentee again, and you know what you're looking for, you can by yourself send messages to again through LinkedIn, through different social media, even Facebook, and has a mentoring function. I don't quite recommend it, but what I'm saying is that you can search for the people who can act as your mentors, and you can make a list of 10 people, no more than that, and cold call, message them and ask for their help. Usually those people who are at this point of their careers, if you ask it in the right way, short enough so that you don't, it is obvious that you respect their time and their know-how, they will answer to you. And again, of course, I would recommend you that you start with 100 mentors or something like that. But my point is that it's all about getting your mission, your statement right, and starting a relationship right from the get-go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think we did receive a comment by Andreas Cudello. I think he mentioned the difficulty that junior associates or entry-level employees have in their firms in identifying a mentor in this day and age where there's high turnover. I think there's downsizing, and I think the compensation is, getting cut now with COVID. Andreas, did you have a specific question other than that, or is that the crux of the question?
Yeah, those are just my 2 cents. So we went to school together, and this is just my 2 cents. If I were to be a younger individual looking to network at this point, a lot of younger kids are not getting the return offers in the financial services sector. And it looks pretty bleak. However, there are some free, unpaid internships that are done on a virtual basis that I think some colleges have done. But I just, there's a lot of unknown out there now. And I've just seen, I can verify on my end, and this is both in Europe and in New York, that there have been substantial layoffs and downsizing, less money, which is important. You don't want to work for free. And that's it. And then, it's a different time. I mean, you're right. New jobs will be created, but, within the confines of, what it is we do on a daily basis, that hasn't really changed in a long time. So you just got to really find somebody and, stick to them, because we have an aging workforce as well, but they're still producers in the end of the day. So if you produce, you're a valuable asset to a company. If you don't, you cost them money. So that's it.
Oh, it's a great point, Andreas. And, I think, I don't want to speak on Yiorgos' behalf, but what comes to mind for me is one piece of advice is to always have a resume ready just in case. You never know what's going to happen. As much job security as you think you have, you always have to be ready to reposition yourself, because, the capitalist system changes happen very quickly and they're dramatic, and you just have to be ready and be able to adapt. And one other thought is the importance of having a mentor. Even if you have a sound job with great job security, you want to stay in that firm, you want to have a mentor to help you navigate those political waters, or try to, assist you in getting the promotions that you like, or getting the workflows that have substance and will be able to accelerate your career trajectory. I think it's vital in any company. I know from my perspective as a lawyer, I think it's largely an apprentice-based profession. I think it's very important. But I defer to Yiorgos if he has any other thoughts to follow up on that.
No, I cannot but say anything but confirm exactly what Andreas and you, John, are saying right now. And we see that also internally in partner companies. It's very characteristic that we have one partner with 2,000 active employees on the platform who act as mentors for not only internal mentees within their company, but also for students as well. So the main theme post-COVID has been that we support our own employees, but also the students who are looking for a job mentally. And it was the first time that we had I would say, a kind of a non-tangible, theme, let's say, because usually, for example, for internal mentoring, you have, transition to a different role, or climb the corporate ladder, or different goals that the employees set. But right now, it was about making sure that the employees are mentally balanced. And that's a super stressful period for everybody who either is on the job and experiences or certain turbulence, but also what you mentioned about the young professionals the students who are looking for a job. So to me, this is a very good sign that also big corporations are looking for ways to be as human as they can and support their human resources. And it's interesting that, and this is also why 100 Mentors became a hit during the COVID period. They do it by using the media, the means that very young people use. It's bite-sized, asynchronous mentoring. And they they satisfy such big goals like mental balance through micro learning and micro mentoring. So I just want to add this as a note that even big companies are trying to find the ways to weather the storm, and it's still, the game is still on, and we're working with them, but also with smaller companies to generate experiences that can mitigate the risks that are in front of us.
Thank you so much, Yiorgos. I think with that, that brings us to the end of our discussion. I think one quote that I was thinking throughout the whole process is that you just don't need that one critical mentor to make, it could happen, to make a huge difference in your life. You could have multiple ones that you can leverage. And speaking of leverage, I think Archimedes once said, give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and you can move the world. So with that, every experience, every discussion that you have will help you in your journey to find the job that you like, to transition to another job that you like, and to ultimately find happiness in your academic and your professional and personal career. And with that, thank you so much. We appreciate everyone for joining us. And most of all, we appreciate Yiorgos Nikoletakis with all the